The cannonball doesn't scream. It just arrives. It's September 7th, 1812, 70 miles west of Moscow, and this field is about to become the deadliest single day of the Napoleonic Wars. But here's the question no one can answer yet. Can you win a battle and still lose everything? 6 weeks ago, Napoleon Bonaparte crossed into Russia with 600,000 men, the largest army ever assembled. His plan? Simple. Crush the Russian army in one decisive battle, force Tsar Alexander to surrender, add another empire to his collection. But the Russians refused to fight. They retreated, burned their own cities, scorched the earth, left Napoleon chasing ghosts across 1,000 miles of emptiness. Now, finally, the Russians have stopped running. General Mikhail Kutuzov, old, half-blind, scarred from decades of war, has drawn a line in the dirt near the village of Borodino. He doesn't have enough men. He doesn't have enough guns. But he has something Napoleon has never faced: a nation with nothing left to lose. If the French win here, Moscow falls. If Moscow falls, Russia may collapse. But if the Russians can bleed Napoleon badly enough, if they can shatter the myth of his invincibility, they might just survive long enough to destroy him. Both sides know it. That's why no one is retreating today. Dawn breaks cold and gray. The Russian position stretches across rolling hills and dense forest. At its center, 3 massive earthenwork fortifications, the Flèches on the left, the Raevsky Redoubt in the middle, and Borodino village anchoring the right. Napoleon surveys the field from a low ridge. His marshals wait for the word. At 6 a.m., he gives it. 300 French cannons open fire at once. The sound is not loud. It's everything. It swallows the air. The ground convulses. Entire trees disintegrate. Russian soldiers crouch behind their earthworks as iron rain falls from the sky. Then the drums begin. Out of the smoke, columns of French infantry emerge, l'armée glorieuse, stepping in perfect rhythm. Sunlight glints off 30,000 bayonets. Behind them, Marshal Ney's cavalry waits like coiled springs. The Russians hold their fire. Closer, closer, fire. A wall of musket smoke erupts from the Flèches. The first French rank crumples like paper. But the second keeps coming, and the third, and the fourth. They crash into the earthworks with a roar. For 2 hours, the fighting is hand-to-hand. Bayonets, rifle butts, fists. The Flèches change hands 3 times. Bodies pile so high that men climb over their own dead to reach the enemy. By 10 a.m., the French have taken the left flank. Napoleon smiles. It's going exactly as planned. But Kutuzov isn't done. From his command post, the old general watches the French pour into the gap. He strokes his scarred face. Then he makes a decision that will haunt Napoleon forever. He doesn't reinforce the Flèches. Instead, he orders a cavalry charge. From the Russian right, 2,500 Cossacks and Hussars explode out of the tree line. They don't target the French infantry, they target something worse: Napoleon's artillery. The gunners never see them coming. The Russian cavalry smashes through the gun lines like a cavalry through wheat. Cannons are spiked, limbers overturned, gunpowder wagons detonated. In 15 minutes, the French lose 60 guns. The entire left flank goes silent. Napoleon's smile vanishes. Now the real fight begins. He orders Marshal Ney to take the Raevsky Redoubt, the fortress at the center of the Russian line. If it falls, Kutuzov's army is cut in half. Ney doesn't hesitate. 10,000 men, straight uphill, into the mouth of hell. The redoubt erupts, grape shot shreds the French columns, canister shot turns men into mist. But Ney's soldiers keep climbing. They reach the walls, and then chaos. Inside the Raevsky Redoubt, there are no lines anymore, just rage. French grenadiers grapple with Russian gunners over cannon barrels. An officer tries to rally his men and takes a bayonet through the throat. A Russian lieutenant fires his pistol point blank into a Frenchman's face, then uses the empty gun as a club. Prince Bagration rides into the storm. He's already been hit once, shrapnel in the leg. He ignores it, rallies a countercharge, leads his men back into the fort. For a moment, it looks like the Russians will hold. Then, a second cannonball finds him. This one doesn't miss. Bagration falls from his horse, blood pooling beneath him. His men scream his name. The line wavers. Marshal Ney sees it. Now! The French surge forward one last time. At 3 p.m., the Raevsky Redoubt falls. The Russian center collapses. Napoleon stands at the edge of the redoubt, staring at the Russian army in retreat. His marshals beg him to send in the Imperial Guard, his elite, reserve, one final push, annihilate Kutuzov, end the war today. Napoleon looks at the field. 70,000 men are dead or dying. French, Russian, it doesn't matter anymore. The ground is black with blood. And for the first time in his life, Napoleon hesitates. "I will not risk my guard 800 miles from Paris," he says quietly. He lets the Russians go. Technically, he wins. He holds the field. Kutuzov retreats. But Borodino doesn't break Russia. It awakens it. A week later, Napoleon enters Moscow. The city is empty. Then it burns. Without supplies, without shelter, without hope, the Grande Armée begins to starve. 2 months later, Napoleon retreats. Of the 600,000 who invaded Russia, fewer than 100,000 make it home. And it all began here, in a field of smoke and ash, where Napoleon won the battle, but lost the war.